Hey, everybody. I'm a little early today. I'm sure Ham's going to call in. I'm just not sure when. Looks like just a few of the stock prices. Uh, Several of these stocks are being hit. I think it's all fraud. No one, no one enforces the rules. And it really is time for the NASDAQ, Adina Friedman, to do her job. I mean, I think it's great that she's made it as far as she has, but do the job. Fingers 296, 424,000 shares traded. And according to Ham, it's all spoofing and wash trading. He's watching the trades on his level, whatever it is, level 2 or whatever. And it's all fake trades. He thinks Charles Schwab is in trouble, but when he comes on, we'll hear from him. And the only stock that's green today, oddly, is Logic. Logic is up 0.0024. It's up almost 10%. And I know there was a gentleman who said, with all due respect, they just keep shorting Logic. Well, let's see. I mean, it's next, I guess Monday's a holiday. Today's the 23rd. I suppose they could wait till next week to make an announcement. But if I were Logic, if there's an announcement to be made about a reverse merger candidate, I think I'd do it this week. Why? Because you gotta close it before you're required to do another quarter's worth of financial reporting. Anyway, that's how I see it. I could be wrong. But anyway, that's the only one that's green today. I did see for Sada Aman, I'm sure she's not listening so early, but I did see that NVIDIA made it well over $1,000. It's 1,049. I think it's going to go higher, but they're going to start rolling out of these 7 or 8 special stocks to keep the market up. And that, in my opinion, they'll go into maybe Freeport McMoran, copper. They'll go into the war stocks because we're going to war. They might go into healthcare stocks. They might go into stocks that sell food to you. And I certainly think oil and gas stocks, particularly the big ones, and the ones that have huge cash flow now, are undervalued. I mean, one I like, which I didn't mention yesterday. Let me see where it's trading. Well, it's cheap. Oh, he's going live on his thing, so I got to call him. All right. All right. Let's see. All right. All right. All right. I used to have a friend that would say that. All right. All right. All right. All right. And I'd say, what the heck do you mean, all right? There it is. No, that's not it. Survey says. Let's see.
Hey, William, you got a few minutes? I'm just going to go on. I want you to hear it.
All right.
Hold on. All right, everybody. I have William just joined in. This is a quick update call, and I wanted William to hear what I have to say. I've been watching this from, I wasn't in front of my computer, and again, this is not to buy or sell. This is an update on finger motion on security fraud at the highest level. I've contacted the SEC, the FBI, the Secret Service, the DOJ, head of enforcement. You're watching complete washing, manipulation, spoofing, all at the same time. Yesterday, William, I reported it to you on your call, and I
Yeah.
think I said it, I can't remember. Charles Schwab is calling around to investors. My friends were texting me. Charles Schwab wanted to borrow their shares. So whoever's short has a big problem. They can't borrow the shares. What they did today was just complete fraud. They came in this morning. There was no bids in the morning. They just sold it down, whatever was there, 2, 3, 4, 5,000 shares, knocked out any bids. And then they started washing trades. Account A is short. He's getting called to deliver shares. He can't. So he gets account B to sell it to account A. Account A is short, let's say 300,000 shares. Account B sells it to him, so account A is now flat. He met his obligation. Now account B is short, and the brokerage firms in 2 weeks or 3 weeks will be calling him again for stock, and they'll move it back to account A or move it back to account C, and it's sort of kiting a check. Do you understand that, William?
I understand it.
All they're doing, everyone, is they're kicking a can down the road. That's all they're doing. It's complete fraud. It's manipulation. It's using one credit card to pay off another credit card. It's done it. You name it, whatever that fraud is, they're doing it. And the second part of this fraud is they're trying to create this volume to get people to think it's negative. Oh, look at all the volume. You know how many people call me up? What's all the volume? It's all fake. Out of 400 and whatever the hell it is, 432,000 shares, I'll say 400 was fake. That's how much fraud we had to watch here today. And if we weren't police officers watching this thing, everyone on this phone would be saying the same thing. Oh, what's going on? Who's selling? Somebody's selling. All right. All they keep doing is this is all prearranged. It's done so fast. It's done so fast between each other because they don't want anyone in the middle of it. And when buyers start to step in, the stock starts to go up. There's no volume. This stock should be trading barely 50,000 shares a day on a normal day, 50 to 100,000 shares, not 400,000 a day. This is what's going on is complete manipulation. The volume is inflated. It's all fake. They are not covering anything. They're just moving it down the road. This is, William, as I always say, this is fraud in slow motion. People, the education you're seeing is something that I learned a long time ago. It's easy to see. I know how these guys think. I know how they manipulate it. I know how they buy more time to try to steal our money. We're not letting them get away with this. All right? We are not letting these guys get away with this. The earnings are coming out next week. The company has no problems at all. Just rang the bell on the NASDAQ. Since they rang the bell on the NASDAQ, the stock was 380, 390 something. It's been manipulated down every day. And now they're getting calls to deliver. They do a lot of this wash trading to buy more settlement time. Think about you going to a steakhouse, eating a steak, and they give you the bill, and you're just trying to hide it because you don't have the money. You give them a credit card, and you give them another one, and you just keep floating it down the road. That's what these guys are doing. And they're doing it with counterfeit shares. These things don't exist. They just create them. All right? And that's what they're doing. It's complete fraud. And I wanted to make sure everybody understood this. This is not something to be taken lightly. You can't see this in GameStop. You can't see it in AMC. You can't see it in any of these names because they trade too much volume. We can see it because it's small. This is a small company, a very small company. All right, it's very different. And we watch every trade because people say to me all the time, how do you know they're not covering? You know what? If they were covering and pushing the stock up, I would sit there and say, hey, you know what? People are selling to it as they move it up. This all happens so fast, all the crosses, it's impossible for the buyers and the sellers to meet at the same time all the time. And that's how you know it's fraud. Oh, look at me. There's 60,000 shares for sale at 3. Oh, wow. I have 60,000 to buy right at the exact same time. You can't even type fast enough to buy it because they don't want anyone else to buy it. They wanted to do it between themselves. They don't want anyone else taking their stocks. Whatever they're doing, they're trying to avoid selling more. They're just trying to buy more settlement time. The numbers we gave you are big. For all I know, the guy that's covering today is the guy who's short 2 million shares. He needs to buy it back. He knows there's no sellers. He called up Lynn Partners and says, hey, you got me short this stock. You better sell it to me. I want to get flat. So Lynn Partners gets their account C and they sell it to the guy who's short, and he's trying to cover because he knows he's going to get his ass reamed. Right? He doesn't want to be short. Do you understand that? There's a real short and a naked short. So I gave you both versions of what could possibly be going on here today. It's either A, the real short is trying to cover, which is a prearranged trade because the naked short is providing him with more fake shares to cover. That could be one. Or they have a settlement failure and they're getting called for delivery. I believe it's number 2 because Charles Schwab was calling around yesterday to buy shares. To borrow shares. So it's either they have a settlement failure, they can't borrow it. It's the real short could be in a panic because he can't borrow the shares anymore and is being forced to cover. That could be one also. So there's a couple of combinations here, but it's all related to the short seller. None of this is long selling. This is all fraud. And the worst part about it is it's so fraudulent that they're trying to con you into selling. That's what this is about. They're trying to con investors into selling. How could the stock have 445,000 shares? It had over 300,000 in less than a half an hour out of the gate. William, you have anything to say about that? Was that clear?
No, I'm listening to you. You're very clear. That I'm trying to see what the volume on Finger is right now.
It's 445,000.
So it really hasn't moved a whole lot in the last.
It's in the same spot, trading 445,000. The buyers and sellers have all agreed upon to sell it all within a nickel range. You tell me in what world that happens.
Yeah.
We know someone's a big buyer or is a big seller. Let's all meet at the $3 range right here.
Yeah.
That is impossible to happen.
Yeah.
Never happens. This is all pre-arranged trades, fraudulent trades that we have to sit here and watch as investors, as adults. It's hurting my family, it's hurting my friends, and we're not letting it happen. These guys belong in jail for life. This is a disgrace that we have to sit here and watch it. Again, they can go hide in GameStop because it's trading 20 million shares a day. You can't hide in this name. We watch it. We watch every tick. I have people watching it every tick. My phone was lighting up, okay, with everything that was going on. I can understand it just by the text messages what was going on. I had 9 people reporting back to me every trade. All right, this is all abnormal. This is complete fraud. I contacted the SEC. I contacted Gary Getz. I did everything I could possibly do already, and that's why I wanted to have a call as quick as possible. Again, these guys commit fraud. I can go take a shit, and they're doing something else. They're trapped. There's no way out of this stock. They are trapped. William said it 1,000 times. We all believe the same thing. The risk in this stock is that it's going to go up. If the stock was 20, I would be very concerned because the manipulation, they could drive it down. Where are they going here? The company's not going out of business. They just rang the bell on the NASDAQ. I posted the video of the CEO ringing the bell again the other day. He didn't say we're going out of business. We have new business, great things coming up, and they keep manipulating the stock. Remember, a CEO that does a video and puts it on video, okay, he's not whispering in an alley to you about a company that's doing well. Those are the CEOs you got to be careful of. This guy's putting in videos. If he says anything wrong, he'll go to jail over it. He's putting it in a video. And he's very precise in what he says. Just watch his videos. So I'm not concerned about the company, but I am concerned about the SEC that allows this activity to happen. And guess what, people? We all said the same thing. The truck didn't matter. The Kramers got busted. We blew the Kramers out of the water. We got Alpine busted, and we're going to get Lynn Partners busted. Okay, now I can't force the issue on the trade settlements. Excuse me, in GTII. I don't know where they are anymore because once the prime goes out, I don't know where it goes after that. Okay, I'm sure the DTC, someone is housing this thing. I don't know where, but it's got to come out sooner or later. I just don't know where. But this is different. Lynn Partners has many deals. Their prime broker is Jeffries, and this is going to hit the fan soon. This can't continue. All right. The other guys all folded and ran away already. Lynn Partners is still operating, still has things going on, and they're going to get busted here. Right? And the company's fundamentals are way stronger than anything else out here. So again, I'm not concerned about that. I'm concerned that we have to watch the manipulation. And I want you to understand what manipulation looks like. This is manipulation 101. I've watched this for 24 years. I know what it's about. All right. I want to make sure you understand it. William was a broker. He was on the phone with clients. I was on a trading desk. I watched every tick in stocks that I followed. I didn't miss anything. Every trade. And when something was fishy going on, we called the floor. We found out. I mostly dealt with New York Stock Exchange stocks. We would call the floor and find out who did what. Goldman sold to Morgan. Morgan bought from JP, whatever it may be. I would know the answers. And I would jot down the notes. As I got older, I memorized it all. This is complete fraud. They just go back and forth. It's like me and William selling stock back and forth to each other. That's all we're doing. William, you hold the hot potato today. I'll hold it tomorrow. That's what they're doing. Who knows what they're doing that we can't see? Sometimes with these trades, I can't tell you. But these guys have a settlement problem. Charles Schwab is making calls on finger motion to borrow shares of a $3 stock. What idiot is borrowing shares to try to short or trying to hold on to a short in this stock? People probably pulling their stock out, and it's forcing the issue where they have to go out and try to borrow shares from somebody else. If you do lend your shares out, call your brokers up and tell them, do not lend your shares out. Make the call. I don't care if it's one share. It takes 1 minute. Call your broker up and say, do not lend out my share. I don't want any money, nothing to do with it. Put the pressure on them. The guy that short 2.1 million shares will have to choke. Just like you're seeing now, someone's choking, they'll have to buy it back. This is unbelievable, but it's life-changing. We will bust these guys, and it'll change your life. That's what this fight is about. All right? Thank God the company has a real business and is moving in the right direction. That takes all the risk off the trade for me. That's how I feel. All right? This company has taken the risk off the table. I don't worry about that anymore. I worry about what we're seeing here. No company deserves to have this happen to them, whether it's DJT, GME, AMC, I don't care who it is, CVM. They do this in all the stocks. The problem is they don't have people like us watching it. That's my value. My value is this. We can spot it, we can see it, and we report it, excuse me. William, speak up because I got to catch my breath.
No, I mean, you're saying it. The thing with Finger is they just want you to sell. They want you to feel like, oh, it's a scam. We got to get out. Nothing's changed. The revenues that are coming down the pike are coming. I'm looking at Snowflake right now. It's down, but it's trading at $158 a share. Snowflake is in a mature market, the United States. China is the biggest economy in the world, and I would say data is brand new in China, almost brand new. So the revenue's coming. And you're watching NVIDIA. Somebody just said NVIDIA is going to go to 200. I have no idea that Finger can ever get to those valuations, but Finger's like a NVIDIA. NVIDIA is, I get it, it's transistors, it's the chips. But Finger is a real company, and they just want you to think it's not.
That's all it is. It's really, if I didn't happen to bump into it through a friend and actually meet these people in 2018, I never would. This company would have been pennies. It would be destroyed already. They just happened to bump into me, and I liked the idea that they were doing business in China. That was it. That's how it started. And I've been following it ever since December 31st, 2018. So I've been watching this stock, and I decided when the criminals started shorting it, I fought back. It was 6 million. William knows that. I reported it a long time ago. Then it exploded north of 100 when Lynn Partners got in here. And it just never stopped. And I reported every day. The guy Dozer's been reporting the data every day for us. We're over 60% every day. So every 10 shares that trades, 6 of them are fake. The problem is, out of the 10 shares that trade, 4 of those shares of the volume is fake. So it's really 90%, 95%, or 100% every day is naked shorted. There is no sellers in the stock. There's no sellers. And everyone is so educated, there are no sellers in this stock. No sellers means this is the most educated group of investors on naked short selling that's ever been known for naked short selling. GameStop at 3 3/4. I was the only knucklehead talking about naked short selling, and I didn't even know how big it was. I knew it was big. I didn't know it was that big. All right. The people in GameStop were not educated. My friends weren't educated. They sold stock that they paid 3 3/4 at 8. They sold it at 15, and the highest we sold it was 118. This is very different because we know every gory detail. I didn't know every gory detail. I knew 80% in GameStop. In this one, I know 100% of every detail. Very different. And everyone that's on these calls and the people that follow us, and guys like Ace and William and everyone else who's been talking about it, giving their opinions about it, we understand 100%. And people won't just go dumping the stock when it runs up 50 cents. That's what they're looking for. They drive it down like this, down to 3, spike it back up soon to 375, and they're looking for people who bought it here that will flip back out of it. I don't think anyone's doing it. There'll be somebody who's trying to make a trade, but for the most part, when it turns back up, there's no sellers in the stock. We're sitting here, William, it hasn't traded in 5 minutes. After all the fake trades, it's all gone. All the nonsense. What happened to the fast-paced trading when I wasn't here? What happened to it all? It all stopped. Everybody went to lunch. This is all premeditated false trading, complete. And I will circle back. I have friends that are going to call the SEC again. We're going to not let up. They don't need to do a 5-year search on this company. Just check the trades today. They're all fake. Just one day. They have to do nothing else. Rope in all these criminals today. All right, William, anything else? I'm sorry.
No, you're doing fine. It's
that's just
it gets tiring
repetitive.
saying the same thing all the time, but it's what it is.
Exactly. But if you don't keep following them, they'll win. They'll try to get people to panic out. They want people to give up. Time is a killer. Time is a killer of all deals. We say it all the time, and guess what? It is. But they bumped into the wrong idiots. I have nothing but time, and I memorize this stuff, and I'm willing to give you my education. I can't tell you to buy and sell. You could do whatever you like, but at least understand it. See the signs of fraud, and you take advantage of any stock that you see that has the same patterns, and many of them have it. But the only way you're going to get it or see these patterns is you have to study it. All right? I'm doing this a long time, and I study them, and I can see it a mile away. We've been here again, 15 minutes, whatever it is. We've been on here a while now, about 20 minutes, and no trades. No trades. They forgot to hit the buttons down. Now they don't know what to do. What happens is they needed to get stock delivered. They got the stock delivered, and whoever was calling, maybe it was 400,000 shares they needed today. The cover-up failed to deliver. So account that was short 400,000 shares, they move it into account B. If for people that haven't paid attention, GTII, the Kramers, Alpine, they have many LLCs. They move it around. How many LLCs does a normal person have? 1, 2? These guys have 30, 40, 50, 100 of them. Who knows how many Lynn has? I have no idea. They're moving it from one account offshore to another account to another. It's like hot potato. They're trying to hide it. And all the SEC has to do is hit the button and stop it, and it's all over. The whole shell game ends. They're doing it in the other names too, but I can't follow it. The volume is too big. This, again, you can write it down. This is fraud in slow motion you're seeing. And here we're still sitting here. Not even one share is traded. Nothing. 0. It's stopped. Dead. So after the big firefight, let's wash the trades, everything is stopped. And if they're listening to the calls, I'm going to report it 10 times today until everyone can't stand hearing from me. They need to just investigate today's transactions. And tomorrow, remember, the real short interest comes out tomorrow on the shortsqueeze.com. It was 2.1 million. Let's see what they've done. Now, there's a delay of a few days, so I don't know what it may have ended, the data for tomorrow may have ended on Monday. So this numbers won't be included in it. All right, so it's tough because it's not exactly real time. All right, so tomorrow we'll get to see the real short. Forget the naked short, they're buried here. It's 227 million. I'm more curious of watching the real short because they're short 2.1 million and they haven't covered it yet. All right, William, I wanted to get that out to everybody. I know you're walking your dog and people have things to do and it's a lunch hour, but unfortunately I can't stop. I can't stop doing this. It just burns me up. And I'm not letting that fat fuck Jeff Easton steal my money. It ain't happening. And if he's got a problem with that, come tell it to my face. I'm not letting a fucking guy, he's a thief, come steal my money. It's not happening. All right, it's just not happening. And it's so funny, people. KNW, which my friends reported to the SEC, has a $12 million toxic debt spiral note. The worst you can possibly have with Lynn Partners. And people are buying that stock. The shareholders and the CEO should all be locked up for being mentally challenged. Whoever's buying the stock, I can't believe investors are buying it. I can't believe the CEO is actually standing here telling people to buy it. If it is, shame on him. All right. But this stock is basically, I think they're paying somebody to buy the stock. I think Lynn Partners is paying a broker or a money manager to buy this stock so they can recoup their money. Because if they don't make sales in their stock and the short sales in the stock, they can't recoup the $12 million they're giving this company. They'll lose $12 million. So they desperately need someone to buy the stock. And they don't like the sunlight shined on them. We found this stock. We're shining the light on it, exposing it. I put it up every day. It's a debt spiral. It means the stock is going lower. It's right there. The company doesn't have the money to pay them back. They're using the money to do what? To do trials. They're not driving revenue. They're doing a trial. All right, they're rolling the dice. Lynn Partners wants the CEO out here pushing the stock, and I believe they're paying someone. That's my opinion. So Jeff Easton, fuck you. That's what I think you're doing. And anyone who buys that stock, you're fucking nuts. All right, I taught you about debt spirals. It's right there. Go read the note. The devil's in the details is what he used to say. Anyway, finger motion. We're not letting them go. And, going back to K&W and finger motion, that is a $12 million note that they have to pay back. And the stock doesn't go down. Finger motion has nothing. Listed on the NASDAQ, moving the right direction. And every day it's under attack. Every day. You tell me. Does that make sense to you? Right there. Death spiral, you deserve it. No death spiral, why finger motion on attack? They had the note, they paid them off and got rid of them. The problem is they're trapped, they sold too many shares and they can't get out. That's the difference. All right, everybody, I gotta go take a break and walk around in circles or something like
All right,
that. But I'll
this-
report if I see anything. It's traded 455,000. We went up by an extra 1,000, 2,000 shares. That's what it went up. All right, everyone. I'll speak to you later. I
All
gotta
right.
take a break.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Good
William.
job.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Call ended.
All right. It looks like Logic made an announcement while we were on the phone. Logic signs letter of intent to acquire privately held biotech company MedLab Essentials, 100 million valuation. So that's a lot less than the 500 million that I thought. But if you read it, which I tried to do here, the acquisition valued at an estimated 100 million marks a significant milestone for Logic as it diversifies into the burgeoning biotech sector. The highlights, I'm just reading the highlights. Valuation, the preliminary target valuation of MedLab is set at 100 million, with Logic shareholders poised to receive 15%. Well, I did the arithmetic on that. That's 15 million divided by about 242 million shares. The value is 6 cents a share out of the gate. Post-transaction, the combined entity aims to meet listing qualifications for NASDAQ, CBOE, or NYSE. I hope it's NYSE. Stay away from Medina Friedman. And complete a substantial capital raise by the third quarter of 2024. That's where the risk is. I hope that the new CEO, a guy named Daniel Vinokur, is not taken advantage of by Aubrey Advisors or Shadron Financial or Jeff Easton, Lynn Partners, Yorkville Advisors, Kurt Kramer, any of those. I have a feeling that they won't be because they just went through the disastrous de-SPAC. But that's the risk. I mean, the key with these biotech companies is, as good as they may be, they need to raise money. And the way Adina Friedman sets it up is you come onto the NASDAQ, and then the big institutions who she represents, she earns $2.5 million a month, not because she looks out for you or the CEOs. It's because she looks out for Carlyle Group. She's a complete fraud, in my opinion. All right, so about the transaction. Okay, no, here. So that's the risk, but then this is the good part of this announcement. Biotech portfolio expansion. This acquisition represents the first in a series targeting a cumulative value exceeding 750 million, focusing on biotech and cell and gene therapy CGT assets. Cell CGT. I don't know what CGT stands for. So if you take 750 million, and obviously they didn't get that done today, but if they get 750 million done, and let's assume because the precedent is set, it's at 15%, and you divide it by 242 million shares, that would apply a target of about 47 cents a share. As they do it, just to repeat it, this acquisition represents the first in a series. Once they get the series done, targeting a cumulative value exceeding 750 million. That's pretty impressive. All right, so about the transaction, Logic will acquire MedLabs through a share exchange, issuing new Logic shares for 100% of MedLab's shareholder interests. MedLab will integrate as a wholly owned subsidiary of Logic, with key MedLab executives joining the senior management team. Upon the closing of the transaction, Mr. Sun will be stepping down as CEO. Now, to me, that's that knowledge that he's learned by scars on his back, tire tracks all over your back. I can see you've had your fun. He by his leaving, I hope he still stays close, that runs the risk that the new CEO gets lied to by Wall Street and then goes on the slaughterhouse of the NASDAQ that Adina Friedman oversees with her big smile. As the transactions proceed, but I think they're going to fight that. I'm just telling you where I see the risk. I don't think they're going to get caught up in that. As the transactions proceed, the management and board of directors will be changed to reflect expertise and focus around the cell therapy sector. CEO Brent Sun says, quote, "The union with MedLab propels us into the lucrative biotech domain, enabling the development of groundbreaking treatments for serious illnesses and to bring to the market medicines directed against targets in a wide range of diseases across longevity and rejuvenation core therapeutic areas. MedLab's cell-based biocarrier platform will provide capabilities and could potentially give us an arsenal with versatile therapeutic building blocks, fostering innovation in multi-specific and bispecific medications. In addition, access to proprietary laboratory technology will allow us to broaden our capabilities, generating new ways to treat patients, enabling customization of cell and gene therapy for longevity, anti-aging, and life extensions," stated Brent Sun, CEO. Okay, so the MedLab COO, Daniel Vinacour, said, "This merger is a pivotal moment for MedLab. Aligning with Logic grants us access to the capital markets. I hope they don't get lied to by Aubrey advisors, by Shadron advisors, by Lynn Partners, Power Up Lending, Yorkville Advisors, Ionic, all of them. They're all on the same side of cheating, stealing, thieving. And it's all allowed because Adina Friedman is giggling, cashing her check of $2.5 million a month." Aligning with Logic grants us access to capital markets essential for delivering cell and gene therapies for longevity and life extension on a global scale. Our integrated approach from R&D to commercialization ensures we address the intricate demands of this complex field, expressed Daniel Vinacour, COO of MedLab. All right, so the capital raise, they plan to secure a significant capital infusion in line with the transaction in Q3. So again, I see that as the risk. If they do a shit deal, they might as well go work for Walmart. I don't think they're going to do that, but we have to accept the risk that the liars who were lawyers, the regulators have set up the whole system to confuse CEOs into taking toxic notes so that the big hedge funds like Citadel, like SAC, and many, many others, Leon Black, can sell shares at an arm's length through fronts like Lynn Partners, and they can pocket trillions of dollars over years offshore without paying taxes. They can book hundreds of millions of dollars in profits when they do the reverse splits, when they drive the stocks into seller boxing and prices, and we let this happen. Also, a few greedy men and Adina Friedman can get rich. We've got to stop it. Anyway, I don't see that here. I think there's expertise here that will avoid that. And I'll try to get Brent to come on if he can to talk to us. So the uplisting goals are to transition to NASDAQ or NYSE by the end of the year. I hope it's NYSE. MedLab's unique positioning. MedLab has agreed to a preliminary gross valuation of $100 million for the transaction. That implies it's worth more than $100 million. Innovation in cell-based therapy. MedLab excels in developing cell-based therapy products for various medical conditions, including challenging cancers and age-related diseases. Advanced treatment platform, utilizing autologous adipose-derived mesenchymal stem cells. Wow, stem cells. MedLab's platform carries oncolytic viruses and therapeutic components, offering a novel approach to treatment. About MedLab's essentials, harness the power of cell and gene therapy to treat human disease. MedLab Bio is an advanced biotechnology company with a unique approach to the development of cell-based therapy products for various human indications. Unique expertise in the development and manufacturing of cell-based products to treat unmet medical needs, such as hard-to-treat cancer, osteoarthritis, as well as currently focusing on longevity, anti-aging, and life extension. The company's expertise aligns with the industry's shift to more accessible off-the-shelf therapies. The transaction is slated for completion by July 31, 2024, subject to standard closing conditions. This acquisition is the first of 3. Wow. So you got to read to the end. If you want to get excited, you got to read to the end. This acquisition is the first of 3 biotech-focused companies, with subsequent acquisitions already in the letter of intent stage. So this is just the first of 3. That's a good announcement. It's a good announcement. I'll do everything I can to get my risk factors in. Do not do a deal with the lying faces on Wall Street, and do not trust Adina Friedman. She doesn't do her job. She's just there to giggle, say, I'm a woman, I made it, I'm one of the most important, I'm pushing boundaries, I make $2.5 million a month, and aren't I great? And I look out for young women, and it's women against men. Look, I'm sure all of that's important, but when it's our financial life, it doesn't matter whether she's a woman, a man, or a cat, or a horse. What matters is getting the job done. And she's not doing the job. She has no curiosity. She's there to protect Carlyle Group, in my judgment. Everything on the video is in my judgment. All right, so let's see what your other questions are. I mentioned DJT. Do you have? I don't have new information other than in talking to him, he gave me his view this morning. It's up 33 cents at 44.9 2.25. And Patrice Ham believes that there is a hearing coming before Congress. It's a fait accompli. It's not a question of is it going to happen? It's going to happen. It's going to have Devin Nunes center, front and center. It's going to have people that Ham is speaking to probably called to talk. And it might even include finger motion. But to Ham, DJT goes much, much higher, 100, much, much higher. I don't want to quote numbers because I don't want to put words in his mouth. But DJT is a short squeeze that you're going to make a lot of money on if you own some. But there'll be boo birds out there. They'll say, oh, it's a sell. Twitter's already claimed the space, whatever. The thing is, there's a massive short position here. The sunshine is going to be shown on it. And Devin Nunes knows exactly what's happening. And you don't think a hands-on guy like Trump isn't all over it? Hello? You're good. Do you want to go live? Yeah. All right, here's Ham. Can you answer? Can you answer anything about?
Jump off, but again, I reported everything that I witnessed today. Again, trading for a long time. I can see this a mile away. Yesterday, I told you, people, my friends at Schwab, were getting called to lend out their shares. They all said no. They had the pressure today, so it's either the naked short rolling a position, the short seller who's borrowing the shares covering. Yesterday they were trying to borrow and they were not able to. So today they would have to cover. So who would sell it to them so they can cover? They do not want these guys buying 400,000 shares in the open market because it'll break the naked short. So they try to cross it. So they just take it out of the marketplace, and this is what they do. So again, it's all pre-arranged trading based on what happened yesterday at Schwab was the tip-off. And listen, I feel terrible that retail investors have to study this. We have to be like detectives every second of the day about what's going on here. And these guys change the game. We're watching a bunch of rats that are trapped, and they basically re-expose them. I don't know what trick they're going to do next, but when I see it, I report it. When I was seeing it this morning, I had to stop what I was doing, race back home, get on a call, and teach you guys how to do it, and how to see it and understand what's going on. Because the stock action with today's fake trading, they want the appearance that the company's going out of business. Now, think how it has worked in so many other stocks. But the thing that these guys, they're so trapped is the company was just ringing the bell at the NASDAQ. This isn't a shitty company. This company was just approved by the NASDAQ, and it's a major thing. And William, you were there. It's a major event to have the ring the bell, correct?
Yeah, it is.
This is that they don't just do it for every company coming down the road. Hey, come on, ring the bell. Wherever you are. This is a company that the NASDAQ is using you to be a representative of the NASDAQ. So it is a major thing. So for these guys to attack it in the face of positive news, not even positive news from the company, but positive news from the regulators and the exchanges, is just asinine. That just shows you how upside down they are. They have no choice but to do these crazy things, which is easy to spot. Again, if it wasn't approved by the NASDAQ and it had, did a big production, I could understand it then. But they just were approved, and the NASDAQ, was, just crazy. Hold on one second.
We have a choice.
I was just speaking to a young lady who's red hair, and
Is she
I asked her if she was
left-handed?
left-handed. She's not left-handed. She just told me no.
You
I had
haven't,
to ask. She just walked past me.
you haven't found your muse yet.
I did. One of our great shareholders, a big holder. His daughter is left-handed. She's in college at the University of Georgia. But I haven't. And when this is over, we're going to meet and have her throw the
Does
dice.
she have green eyes?
She has green eyes. She's the ultimate leprechaun. She's the best. But we haven't met yet, so I just keep asking anyone who has red hair. Anyway, so again, the fraud is so easy to see, and they picked the wrong company. That's the most interesting about the whole thing. Where are they going? They're trying to hurt a company that is fundamentally sound. It's very different than everything else. GameStop is not fundamentally sound. It's trying to get there. I don't know what the hell they're doing anymore, but they raise money on these squeezes, and it's all working out for them. But at the end of the day, you have to build a business. I don't think they should build a business. I think they should just go buy Apple. Just forget about it and just say, hey, we're not GameStop anymore. We own Apple. Every dollar we raise, we're going to buy Apple stock. And this way, no one can ever yell at them. At least you have the fundamentals. You don't need any employees. Just go buy Apple stock. You need a Fidelity account. Just buy it. You don't even have to pay a brokerage fee. That's what public companies should be doing. But people have a vision about building a company, and that's the American way. But the criminals have turned it into where you should just do nothing and just do like Warren Buffett does, because his stock is never attacked for anything, no matter what happens. He's always okay. So do what he does. Why do anything different? So but I just want people to understand that I don't like to do these calls every day, but I'm trying to stay ahead of the curve so that you understand the crime. These guys are trying to rob us. They're not even wearing a mask and bringing a gun to the table. They're just sitting here blatantly doing it. And the regulators are sitting here. How are they not? If they just looked at today's trades, they would lock up all the criminals. Just today. They don't have to go back 3 years, a week, anything. One day. Who sold it? Who bought it? And followed the paper trail? It's the same people. And I guarantee the same activity's been done before.
So can you give people are you there?
Yeah, what'd you say?
Can you give people your flavor for DJT? DJT?
DJT is going to open up one day 100 points high. I just don't know the day. It's very difficult. I cannot afford to buy a $45 stock, and I don't know the day for options. But I do know that it's going to be within the next 120 days. So if you can sort of narrow it down, there you go. There's your answer.
It's a broad range, but yeah, that's $100.
Well, it's not really. It's really not. You got 120 days.
Yeah.
Each day that passes, you get a good feeling for it has to be before the election. Trump cannot go into the election, win, and be the president of the United States and say, the first thing I'm going to do is force settlement in DJT. You can't say that. So it has to be between now and then. And people start understanding these are the things that professional traders use to get the advantage. Know the day the earnings are coming, knowing this, knowing that. NVIDIA yesterday, William's been talking about the stock going for 1,000. The earnings came out the other day, didn't do anything. Right? It was up $8 or something like that. All of a sudden yesterday, William goes, oh, it's going to 1,000. He had no idea. What did they announce? The forward split. That's what made it happen. They announced the forward split. And I said a while ago, how are these companies not doing a forward split? Well, guess what? Costco, look at all these stocks that are $700-800. They're all going to do it. They're all
all going to do what the NVIDIA's doing. Now, I don't follow them all. UNH, Costco, all these crazy names that we don't follow. Pay attention to them because they're all going to do the same thing that the NVIDIA's doing. The forward split. CJYL did a forward split, right? But it's so shorted. They had no choice but to try to knock it down. It's the same thing. A forward split is a positive event. Why? Because the short 10% more in NVIDIA. It's going to be, I think it's a 1 for 10 forward split. I think that's what it was.
Something like that.
Imagine CJYL. It was a 20 to 1. That's how screwed they are in that stock. When does it go? I don't know. But why did it have the adverse effect versus the other one? The ownership at CJYL is the same thing. All these big holders owned it. It wasn't William and everybody else that was paying, $300 at the time. Right?
Here's the name of one. I don't know what it is. DEFTF. I'll write it down. DEFTF. Will triple. I don't know. I'll look it up.
Okay, how do we do that? We just multiply it times 3. How does that work? Tell us why we should look at it. Are you just doing is it just math? Is that, or are we?
He didn't give
what do
any.
they do? Tell us what they do. What you expect them to do. Give us a clue. We just have a symbol that has 5 letters now.
Oh, this guy's reminding everybody, TK16, that if you put in good to cancel orders on your finger shares, your brokerage firm can't lend them out.
We do try to tell people that all the time. Listen, the one thing the shorts do have to have, they know that investors, longs do not unite. Longs are lazy. I ask them to call their broker. I beg you to call your broker. Tell them to stop lending. I told you to put good bill cancel orders in. And when I finally get someone that questions me in person, I said, "Did you do that? Oh, should I?" I told you 10 times. What do you want me to do? I can't do it for you. You got to do it. And you know what? In a normal world, you don't need to do these things. But we're in a complete fraudulent society, and you need to defend your investment. It sucks, but that's what it is.
Yeah.
I never did this stuff
suck.
before. I never did this stuff when we were swinging big. I never had to worry about any of this stuff. Now all I do is concern. Oh, I bought the stock. I can't lend it out. I can't do this. I need to know so many things before I invest now. It's crazy. I have to defend I didn't know when I bought a stock, I was like signing up for the army. I had to defend it every day. No one ever told me that.
Well, there's no compliance and there's no regulators. It's just
right.
Everybody's in on the crime, it looks like.
That's what it is. 100% Jeffries is a prime broker for Lynn. Now, I don't know how many different LLCs Lynn has, but I'm sure they're using the same prime broker. Maybe they have a few other ones. But to prearrange these trades, it's pretty orchestrated. It's not easy to do. Because remember, there's 2 different parties involved. Many parties involved, probably.
Yeah.
Jeffries is calling them up. Hey, you gotta deliver us some stock. How much? 400,000. Lynn's got to get off. Go buy stock with one person. Go short it someplace else. It's just too crazy. All the stuff that goes
on. A lot of people buying finger, which I think is.
I give you my opinion on it. If I can sell my kidney and today on the side of the road, I go buy it. But I don't have it.
Your kidney's not worth much.
Yes, it is. I never do drugs. I didn't have a drink. What else do you want? I guess it's a good kidney, right?
Yeah, but it's 55 years old.
Well, listen, I know a young lady who just was granted and just got a kidney, and a beautiful young woman, and hold his sister, and she's doing well. And you know what? That's how important it is in life. I say it as a joke, only because it's so important that a kidney, what it is, I'm sorry, it's so important as a kidney, and how important it is, and that's the message I'm sending to you is that I'm so desperate that I would do that. That tells you how much I believe in what we're doing.
Right. Well,
I have no idea what the stock is. I don't know. I took my son back to school, and that's what I was doing.
well, there's not much more to say.
So I was in the school. I got a funny story for you. You know, I'm not a spring chicken, and in college there's a lot of young people, and I took my son to school, and the sheriff came walking past me, looking at me. I'm like, the only person that doesn't belong there was me. And I said, "Are you looking for someone?" He goes, "Oh, why should I?" I said, "Well, if you are, let me know. I can maybe if I keep an eye out for you. You know, maybe I can help you." I didn't know he was looking for me because I was sitting there just in the hallway for 3 hours waiting for my son's class to end. I know they were looking at me, so again, it's pretty interesting. But I went at him first before he looked at me. So
You
he
looking
didn't
at
ask
me?
any other questions. I know he was looking. I'd never seen anybody there before. And you know, when you see a guy come by with a bulletproof vest and his gun, where is he looking for? You know, I'm the only idiot standing there.
Do you know where GTII is? It's in the shitter. I'm down 250K, Keith M says.
My friend's down 20-something million in it. We know exactly where it is. If you speak with Richard and let legal advice, he'll tell you exactly what we're doing there. If you care. All right. I understand it. You're down. We got it. So did I address that for you?
You did.
My friends are financing, doing everything possible to get rid of the CEO and put a company in there. We cannot do anything if the CEO is against us. And that's where we stand there. Unfortunately, we don't own a public company and we can't do anything about it.
That's the sad part here.
Yeah. It's
I'm sorry, William.
well, it's hard. I mean, it's hard to sell, but one lesson to learn.
Ended.
He's gone. One lesson to learn is you just can't let these stocks go down to zero, but it's so hard to sell. So hard to sell. So I didn't do any better than you did, Keith. All right, you're live.
I'm sorry, I just hit the wrong button. I said, listen, I can't advise anybody on that. We know what's going on. Richard, not legal advice, is doing everything in his power to remove the CEO. Please call him up, join the fight. Everyone helps. The more the merrier. We can get rid of him. We have public companies that want it. We have companies that want to join the fight. And that's the only way we can turn this around. The CEO is basically your grandfather sitting on a couch. That's what we have going on here. He's been entrenched in the company for 120 years. And, you know, William says, you know, this is a guy that just doesn't want to leave.
So Keith doesn't feel better to know that your friends are also down. I don't know what to tell you, Keith. There's no magical answer right now.
I don't give a shit about him either. I care about my friends. He just happened to get caught with it. I don't remember calling Keith up and telling him to buy the stock. I don't recall doing it at all. But if I did call him up, I apologize, but I don't think I ever did because I don't know anybody named Keith. So again, if you got a gripe, Keith, which I think you do, call the SEC up today and file a complaint. Me and William have filed it 50,000 times, in case you're not paying attention, which I don't think you are. We've called the SEC. We stand in front of the SEC, the Department of Justice, the FBI, and the Secret Service. So if you want to call somebody, knock yourself out, and help yourself. That's what we've been doing. We're doing the same thing. So again, this is not the complaint hotline. You want to complain, call the
He
Fed
says you know who he is. I don't know.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay.
I don't know. Anyway, everybody here has lost money. I think a lot of people have lost money in GTII.
Listen, you know what? You know what's worse than the money? I lost time in my life.
Yeah.
Okay, I gave up my life to make this how to work. Okay, and the guy Lou who passed away, he was the person telling people charging into the stock at these high levels. If you go back, if anyone followed me, we've been talking about the stock below $1. Even below $1 or $2, you know what? It's been a loss, and I got it. The guy Lou sent all these people in that I don't know, and I don't even know the guy. He passed away, and unfortunately, everyone got dumped onto me. But you know what? That's life, and I've done everything I can. If anyone has a graph, go look at the trucks and the pictures of the trucks. 15 times we put it in front of the SEC. Not once, 15 times. We've called the SEC 15 times. We stood in front of the building 15 times. We called them thousands of times. Where's the unsettled trades? When you know where they are, get back to me on that. All right. Listen, William, I'm not here. Call the SEC, help yourself, file a complaint, call the butcher, the baker, anybody you like. I can't help you.
Karma will come back at you. See you. All right. Thank you, Keith, for joining. Keith says he spoke with you many times. I don't know, Keith. He doesn't remember.
Okay,
Ham talks to hundreds of people. I haven't seen anyone work harder than Ham to make this work.
I'm not here defending it. I'm not here defending it. I was fighting security fraud for 24 years. And I state and I stick to what I'm doing. That's what I'm about. Anyway, now that I got disgusted, I don't want to hear that idiot.
Let's talk about something else.
I'll speak to you later, William. I'm done.
All right, bye.
Call ended.
I guess I shouldn't have read your post, Keith. So I don't think it has anything to do with karma, Keith. And I did quite long videos, and I expressed frustration. But I don't know where you bought GTII. But right here in sort of September, October of 2022, a squeeze was on. Every indication a squeeze was on. Fidelity was paying 1,000% to borrow stock. Wells Fargo took away the buy button. Other brokerage firms were slow walking the conversion of warrants. And then three guys, Lou Bravo, Frank Benedetto, and this Greek guy, I always forget his name. That's the CEO of Cosmo. This isn't right. It's not Jeb Terry. It's some Greek guy. Anyway, COSM CEO. COSM stock. CEO. Greg Siakis. Those three guys came in here when the Kramers were down $1 billion, their clients, and they said, come to COSM. COSM is going to list on Upstream. Greg Siakis is talking to Lou Bravo, whereas the CEO of GTI will not. Greg Siakis will not do a reverse split. Greg Siakis will not do a deal with the shorts. There's 2,000% short Greg Siakis' company, and they're going to change the name. That'll make it squeeze. They're going to change the CUSIP. That'll make it squeeze. Everybody raced over there. Well, you see what happened. It went down, and then it broke down. And then the Kramers came in. They sold it down all the way, I can't read over there, 43 cents. This was the efforts to get out. Everyone flooded out. It broke the back of the squeeze. Now, the stock, because of the short position, because there was the potential of the legal company to be purchased, which did not happen, because of the potential for the Trento mine deal, because of violations of selling that the FBI is still looking into, because of a naked short position of 29 million shares out of Switzerland calling in and trying to buy it back, the stock drifted higher. But the Kramers and their ilk continued to just sell, sell, sell. Sometime, Keith, around July, August of last year, I started telling you, if you were listening, that the company, that there was what I called palace intrigue, that there was a battle for control of the company, the CEO versus the Young Turks, let's say, the whales. And the CEO has clung to his CEO-ship for the last, I don't know, from August here to that's July, August. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 months. He issued himself a lot of stock, which initially didn't seem to be a problem, but he also apparently issued stock to a charity that his son controls. He may have commingled funds with his daughter without disclosing it. But the one thing he's done is he's continued to hold on to GTII all the way down to 14 cents. There is no deal with the law firm. There is no deal with Trento Mining. There are no deals at all. So Keith, now, of course, sort of October, November, December, I started suggesting, and maybe sooner, maybe September, I can't remember. It's all my videos are there, suggesting people could sell their stock, lock in their tax loss, and buy it back 31 days later. Now, of course, if you did that in November, bought it back in January, you're still down. But if you didn't double up your number of shares, you took some money out of the market, you established your tax loss, and the stock is down. Now, the other thing I've been saying, Keith, in I don't know, so many situations when people ask me, what would you buy? I suggest you take half your money and put it in finger motion, because I think if you are willing to wait, finger motion doubles your money or triples your money. So let me give you an example. If you had 20 grand to invest right now, would you put it in GTII or would you put it in finger? Would you put it in DLJT or would you put it in some of the other names? I have said, and I will continue to say, why don't you take half of it, buy finger, and then with the other half, do one or more of the alternatives. If you want to just stick with it, do GTII with half and do half with finger. Why? Because finger at $3, in my opinion, will be a $6, $7, $8 stock. And at least you will get that money back through finger. But Keith, if you think this is karma from here all the way down, it's not karma. It's that Keith M decided not to sell at 2, 3, 2.5, 1.5, 1. Guess what, Keith? You're not alone. I didn't either. But then Keith M decided at 50 cents, when it's clear on the chart that the stock is breaking down, not to sell. Oh, it's already so low, I can't sell it. Well, I came out and really told people this is a good time to establish tax losses. And look, if you bought it back, you could buy double your position or just buy your same position and take cash out. But the weird thing about 50 cents, it can still lose half its value. So there is value in protecting the downside. But Keith, you didn't sell there. You had access to these charts. You didn't sell there. And then, of course, it came down. I can't see this. It traded around and it came down and broke under 21 cents. And again, it's come down basically it's cut in half. Now we're at a point where it's so bloody cheap that even though it looks dark, and Reichman is not giving up, Reichman is fighting tooth and nail. He's going to make sure the stock is worthless before he goes to his grave. But if Reichman were to leave, you've got so many people involved here that have lost more money than you have. And by the way, I've lost a lot of money in it myself. A lot. But you have a lot of investors committed to making this work. You have people working to sue the company. You have people working to get Alpine to collapse. People working with the FBI. And you've got young men bringing deals to the company which could transform the stock overnight. And you still have, although I don't know if you can prove it, maybe as much as 500,000 shares that have been counterfeited. But even if it's 50 million shares, which it was back here, back when before the stock ran, even if it's 50 million or 25 million, you could have a squeeze in that stock. But the key, Keith, is not threatening karma on anybody. The key is to understand that the stock market is all rigged, that people like the Kramers and the Hurries are just fronts for the mutual funds, the managed money, and the big Wall Street pools of money who, at an arm's length, hire these fronts to capture CEOs, and then they destroy the stocks in the market. And you know this. You knew it, Keith, if you were paying attention, even if you paid $9 for the stock. You've known it for a year and a half. And when you pay $9 for a stock and it pulls back to 6 and 5, you can buy more, you can hold on, or you can start saying, uh-oh, did I overpay? And then it breaks down. That's when you start saying, darn it, I should have sold, but it can get worse. And by the way, these are things you learn over and over and over and over again in trading, because the hardest thing is to take a loss. Frankly, the hardest thing is to take a small profit when you think this thing could go to $100. But the whole system, Keith, it's not karma. And you can blame someone and you can threaten karma, but the entire over-the-counter market, NASDAQ markets, any stock under $10, $5, it's set up so big, wealthy men who run trillions of dollars worth of money can steal your funds, destroy companies, destroy CEOs. And GTII actually fought with us for a long time. And then the Palace intrigue came in last summer, and Reichman hasn't gone. And if you've been listening, which I don't think you have, but you might have, it's time to lighten up. Now, there's the risk, of course. You could get out at $1 and all of a sudden it runs. And so, Keith, that was your decision. You said at $1, I don't want to get out because it could squeeze, it could be life-changing. It's your choice. It's your choice. And then it rallies up to head fake you. Here it rallies back to 1, it head fakes you. It's tough, Keith. Not easy. It's not easy. But you have these charts, and one of the most basic signs on a chart. I don't know if you see my cursor, but you can see this 50-cent range back in November of 21, in July of 22, and even you can say August of 22, but then you can say December of 22. This kind of, I mean, it's on a slant, and I do my charts with a fat thumb, but it's kind of telling you that 50 cents is a pretty important support area. So come the end of 23, it's hanging around 50 cents for a couple of months, and then it breaks down. So the dedicated trader husbanding his net worth looks at that and says, I got a decision to make. Is this going to go back up, or is there risk it's going to break down from 50 cents? Well, it was tax loss selling. I warned people about that. It's the fact that Reichman won't let go. There is no, Keith. The company brought in a Picasso. That didn't work. They did the Shiba Inu coin. That didn't work. They bought Beyond Blockchain. That didn't work. They bought an educational company. That didn't work. They were in a merger situation with a law firm that ended up breaking up. I think I just heard last week that might have been because of Reichman, but I don't have proof on that. I don't have proof at all. They put a bid out to buy CRTD, which the idea was to crush the shorts. But the CEO of CRTD might be compromised. I don't know. But his actions are weird. That fell through. They issued a warrant as a special dividend, which was causing a squeeze until the three cavaliers from COSM came and busted it. Were they paid to bust it? I don't know. Were they just idiots? Maybe. Some people made money in the transaction, but most people lost. And COSM took 35 million out. Guess what, Keith? In retrospect, that was the time to say, wait a minute, they busted the squeeze. But we were working hard, and it looked like it could reestablish. But this isn't pretty. Now, are the investors going away? I don't think so. Are the whales going away? I don't think so. Is Reichman going away? I don't think so. But when he does, we're going to swing into action. I mean, it might have to wait till he's dead. So you might have to wait 9 years. But we're going to swing into action. And we're going to make this stock valuable with every fiber of our being, if we can. I mean, the stock market could crash by then. But fundamentally, Keith, this isn't about karma. This is about the river of money that Wall Street is making by fraud, as Patrick Byrne called it. It's the corruption of Wall Street buying the regulators, buying congressmen, buying treasury and secretary and presidents, because the only avenue for profit left is the stock loan desk, which is itself a euphemism for this stealing, this counterfeiting, this selling of stock that isn't there, this selling of stock that is not located, does not exist, does not settle. And then horror, the trades are moved offshore and no taxes are paid. And Keith, you can spread around your threats of karma, but it's Goober Gary Gensler, the head of Goldman Sachs, the head of all these pools of money, Adina Friedman, Robert Cook, Congress, Congresswoman Wagner. They're the ones that don't care. It's your own brokerage firm that doesn't care. Your broker dealer does not settle the trades. Why? Because this is such a great source of revenue. So I'm sorry you lost a lot of money. I've had to accept the fact that I lost a lot of money. But the way a man does it is, instead of threatening karma, what they do is they set about trying to rebuild their account and trying to have enough capital for the next trade. I've been as clear as I possibly can, Keith, and I'll say it again. GTII is not going to go up unless there's a surprise, which there always could be. There could be a surprise buyer. There could be a surprise buy-in. Unless Alpine is expelled suddenly and there's a buy-in, or if Reichman leaves. If one of those three things happens, this stock could spike upward. But if it's just a surprise out of the blue and the stock goes to 50 cents, you're going to face another decision, Keith. Do I get out of 50 cents or do I hang on? One thing, and I know it involves more money, and I'm not recommending it, but some people keep adding to their position, and that's what I would be inclined to do. But right now I'm trading Logic, I'm trading RCRT, I'm trading DG, I can't say the other two call letters, and a couple of others. Why am I in others? Because I want to make a little bit of money. I can come back to GTII. But GTII is dead money. And Keith, looks like you have a wonderful family, a wonderful lifestyle. If you didn't protect yourself on the way down, it's tough to rebuild. I know it. I know it. I know it. But you try to diversify a little bit. That rush of wealth creation from 9 cents, the green line, 9 cents to $9 doesn't happen very often. And now it's gone from $9 back down to 9 cents. That's a round trip. It's a busted trade. Shame on me for not getting out sooner. But I'm not spreading karma. I'm not saying, oh, karma's going to get you, see ya. Because you know why? Because when it was $9, Keith, I was hoping it would go to $90. That's on me. Why was I hoping? It wasn't just a dream. I was basing it on the fact that the Alpine and the Kramers were breaking the law, and there would be compliance. There would be enforcement of settlement, and this massive short position would be bought in. Guess what? The other side has weapons. The other side controls the entire playing field. They own the umpires. They even own the cheerleaders. They own the ambulance that comes out with the doctors in it. They own the sportscasters. They own the scoreboard. They own everything. And my belief that the squeeze was going to happen was interrupted by the fact, and it's just a fact. The squeeze, in my judgment, was happening, and everyone sold GTII or parts of it to go over to COSM. Hey, that's life. It's not diamond hands, it's life. But it busted the squeeze, and then it's hard to get it to go again. Keith, I'm going to stop on this. The only thing that makes these squeezes happen is surprise. Surprise. And it's hard to build that surprise back up again. And now the whales and other people have moved on to other tickers. As those tickers work, and I hope they do, that money will come back. We're not giving up. But I do not wish ill karma on you at all. But at the same time, I don't accept your curse at me. I don't accept it. So anyway. Oh, let me go back here. I got to take this down. All right. Oh, I did buy COSM. I didn't buy much. I bought Philip, I'm going to give you my memory, but if I'm wrong, it's just because my memory. I'm not trying to, but I think I bought 5,000 shares at 50 cents. That doesn't sound like enough. I bought enough that it would make a difference. Maybe it was 10,000 shares at 50 cents. It might have been more of that, Philip. I did do it. I got caught up in it, and that's the battle. And I admit it. And it's the battle of the emotions. There's a reason cattle stampede, because emotions take over and the thinking stops. And I bought enough COSM that if it had squeezed, I would have made some nice money. I told Ham that I did, and he said something to this effect: "Are you kidding me? That stock is set up to slaughter." He didn't use that word. That stock is set up to a word that rhymes with Bill and begins with a K. That is set up to slaughter retail. He said the Greeks, whenever you see a CEO who's Greek, they have offshore accounts. They already have trades in. He's probably trading his own money. And Ham said to me, if you don't get out of that trade, I'm not giving you advice again. So, Philip, I did own it, and I sold it. To my memory, so I must have bought more than 10,000. I don't know how much I bought, but to my memory, I lost something like $1,000 or $2,000, or I made $1,000 or $2,000, but I got out of it. But you're right, I did it. I got caught up in it. So I'm not. You and Ham both push GTII. I don't know that I pushed GTII. I talked about it. I also projected very high numbers in a squeeze. But I never said if it's not if, it's when. I never said that. So Philip, I appreciate you quoting me, but you should quote me correctly. I never said it's not if, it's when. Never. Because a short squeeze is not a guarantee. So, yeah, I bought, God, I wish I could remember how much I bought of. I might have bought 50,000 shares, but that's too much money. I don't think I would have risked that much money. Maybe 30,000 shares. Anyway, I bought enough that it would have been meaningful if it had worked. But then Ham said, when you have a Greek CEO, they have accounts offshore, they move money around, they're going to trade their own money. And he said, that stock, they're going to hit it, it's going to go down. And I use my own words. it's going to end in tears. And I got out. So even though the crowd, I forget who told me that I'm a deck, but the crowd was, the emotions were still there, and it was really hard. I remember a couple of really interesting people on my channel, one out of Arizona. She's no longer here. They were buying it. I wanted to participate. I wanted to be in it. I wanted to be there. And I got out. I think I got out, Philip, at 47 cents. And it ran to 80 cents, roughly. And I'm like, darn it, I'm not in it. And it took all my self-control not to buy into that rally. And I didn't. And I was like, I should have waited. I should have, would have, could have. I could have made 50% on my money. But I was already out. And then this Gus Fliakos guy, forget his name, Greg Siakis, he did a deal with the shorts. He raised 34 million. The squeeze stopped. The stock went from 80 some cents to 20 cents. So if I had stayed in, I would have lost more than half my money. And as far as I can tell, the stock since has done nothing but go down. So I really would have been in trouble. I mean, it's back up a little bit from its lows in April, but I don't know I forget what the split was, but it's essentially at its all-time lows, other than for its April price. So I would have lost everything. So Philip, you're absolutely right. That was emotional, fighting my own desires, and I got caught up in it because it was exciting. I believe the sheer momentum, the flow of money. But remember, Gus Fliakos took $34 million out of the market. I would argue a lot of that was our money. So anyway, that's what happened. I'm not trying to judge it. It's just what happened then. But since then, GTII, we tried to get the law firm in. I don't know why that fell apart. I started warning you, Philip, that it didn't feel like it was going to happen to me. It's taking too long. I don't know, guys. You come into the stock market because it's risk reward. If you want 100 times on your money, you take some risk, calculated risk. You learn the story. If you want a guarantee, you buy a toaster. And even that doesn't always work. If you want a guaranteed yield, you go buy a CD at 5% for 8 months, but you might lose 12% of your money in inflation. There are no guarantees anywhere. So hey, Simi Nunya. Oh, all right. Okay. I didn't think I said it. All right, let's go talk about something else. I guess for the longest time, I'm going to have to talk about this. Complaint. My wife is cheating on me. Is she a goer? Does she go? Well, she's from Pearly. Say no more, squaw. Say no more, squaw. She's from Pearly. I hope that's, Rudy, I hope it catches people. Red hair, green eyes, and left-handed. 0.004%. And you know what, Matt Slope? Only 2% of the world's population is over, I got to remember, this is roughly right, is over 6'2" men. And only 2% of the population is 6 feet, over 6 feet to 6'2", something like that. Might be 6'2" to 6'4" and over 6'4". But anyway, so women go after 4% of the population. Yeah, Eric, I'm not ready to do it yet, but like I say, as I said in November and December, one of the reasons to swap out of one stock into some of these others is there's some other stories there that had the potential to squeeze. Not the guarantee, but the potential. And likewise, I think some of those stories are closer to the potential, a prediction, not a promise, the potential for an upside move. I don't see it right now in GTII. I think it's a flip of the coin at best. But I'm really intrigued by coming back and building a position in GTII, especially if a team of us can go in and take over the company with a single-minded focus of destroying the shorts as a consequence of building up net asset value and cash flows and hopefully earnings. And I think we can do it, but not, I'm telling you guys, when you have to go to lawsuits and you're on Wall Street, you might as well leave the stage. When you get to the lawsuit stage, you're not going to make money in the stock by trading. And any settlement with lawsuits, 40 or 50% are going to go to the lawyers. It's going to be a settlement. It's not going to make you feel good. And it's not going to be a big number, therefore. So, God, just saying the same thing over and over again. Nunya. There's got to be a song for Nunya. Nunya. I watched it, Yeah, I think. I mean, wash traded means you don't get the benefit of the tax loss, but I don't think that's what you mean here. Could GTII still blow it? Yes, it could. That's why it's so hard, Rosa. It absolutely could. Like I say, the three things that would move it. One is a buy-in. A buy if there's a large short position, and nobody can prove that for sure. But what would cause that buy-in possibly is Alpine being finally expelled. But you've got to think to yourself, there's been so much time that's gone by. They've been able to get that under control, but we don't know. This is all illegal activity. It's done with the support of Gary Gensler and Adina Friedman and Robert Cook. It's done with the support of the regulators. And Congress, they like going out to fancy restaurants, travel, having their kids go to the best schools. Congress supports this as well. So it's a tough thing. But anyway, if the buy-in comes, it could be through enforcement. It could be because Alpine goes down. If a buy-in FBI, it might go up. I'm not all that hopeful for that avenue because I think enough time has gone by that they have it under control. The second thing could be that Reichman dies or retires. I think a lot of us would be enthusiastic then, let's go to work. And we would. And then the third thing is, which I don't see happening as long as Reichman's there, but the third thing is if the company suddenly, surprisingly, out of the blue, added revenues, cash flow, earnings, NAV, upside that the criminals had no clue was coming. Then prime brokers, because Wall Street is about making money, not losing money. And criminals will turn on criminals to not lose money. So because right now the value of GTII is a shell company, pennies per share. Is it 14 cents, 9 cents, 20 cents? Who knows? But they're not even a clean reporting company right now because apparently there's been some shenanigans, potentially, I'm not a lawyer, with how Reichman has handled a couple of things. So what's the value of the company as a shell company? I don't know. There's better shells out there right now. But the one thing GTII has as a shell that no other company has, it's got a huge shareholder base. It's got dedicated and motivated people to make it work. And it's possibly, and I tend to agree with Ham, I haven't seen any of the buying back of the shares that were sold short. It potentially has a ginormous short position, which could be used, could be mined, so to speak, to create value overnight. So the third way to make the stock go is to make the net asset value of the stock or the cash flows of the stock so great that prime brokers don't want to take the risk of extending credit to Kurt Kramer or John Hurry or their clients. So yes, it can still go. And that's the toughest thing. It's the hardest thing about getting out of a stock, which is why when I was, on my stupid list, which I don't know if I have it right at my fingertips, Your Kiss is on my list. Your Kiss is on my list. What a stupid song. Your list is on my kiss. I mean, I had all of these, not all of them, but many of these as potential stocks who could trade up for the January effect. None of them did. The whole market is under this avalanche of selling. I mean, there were three here that stayed flat. But yeah, anyway, Rosa, one reason I've recommended these others is you could get out of GTII, go in another, still have exposure to the upside. So the risk of getting out and waiting 31 days and establishing your tax loss is you miss out on a run, and it could come at any time. And remember, human beings are like cattle. They're like sheep. They will stampede. And like the gentleman pointed out, I bought COSM. I got out, to my memory, I got out either the next day. No. I tried to get out the next day and the stock went down. So I left my order out there, which was a rookie mistake, by the way. And as it went back up, I think it was 3 days later, I got out. And that's why I broke even, basically. I either lost 1,000, 2,000, or I made 1,000 or 2,000. But the rookie mistake is when they get you all panicked and it's down and it starts to trade back up, it's usually going to go higher. And that was a rookie mistake on my part. I think I answered that, Rosa. I think I answered that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to wash my hands, Philip. I am trying to relay how I see it. And I'm trying to relay what I think, how I think I handle it. But I'm not trying to wash my hands. I mean, I'm on here every day, Philip. I go down to the SEC. I lost a lot of money in GTII. Was it because I was distracted by these calls or I was down at the SEC? Was I not using my best trading experience? I don't know. But I look, I can stand with any of you in how it affected me financially. But I don't blame anyone. And I don't want you to feel sorry for me because it's a tough game. I know at the core that to get gigantic returns, you got to be in it. And it looked like it was working. And now I have my assessment looking backwards as to what happened. But I'm not trying to condemn anybody because it's a market. What the one thing about Wall Street, whatever happened, happened. Going back over again isn't going to change what happened. All you can do is look at where you are this morning. And as I look this morning, you can summarize it. As long as Reichman is in charge of GTII, it's a dead duck. But that doesn't mean that there aren't people with huge losses who have money who want to make it work. Doesn't mean that doesn't exist. It's not black and white. I'm guilty of black and white thinking many times in my life. But I'm not trying to wash my hands at all. It's a disaster. And I think over the last many months, short of coming out and saying, I predict it's going down, which I couldn't say because I didn't know, Philip, that Reichman wouldn't strike a deal with the shareholders in July of last year. I didn't know that. If Reichman had been struck his deal, the stock could have been $10. But I didn't know he was going to be an idiot. I didn't know. So it's hard to, it's easy to look backwards, but I'm not trying to wash my hands. It hurt. But I do suggest to you, Philip, that Ham pretty much has two stocks, GTII and FNGR. And it's not over with FNGR. I lost a lot of money on the calls too when I went to do that video. I just should have said, guys, I'm not available to do an interview on the last trading day for options. I should have said that, but I didn't. It's on me. It's not on anybody else. And that was really expensive for me because had I been saying in front of my computer, I wouldn't have let that happen, but I was focused on that. So anyway, unfortunately, Philip, you don't get A pluses in trading very much. You really don't. It's rare to get a B plus. So anyway, I'm not trying to wash my hands. I'm just trying to, and I stay in. Hey, not legal advice. By the way, not legal. They're saying that E-Trade's finally trading the dividends for GTII. I don't see any evidence of it. So I'm not wrong. Only 6% of the population is 6'2" or taller. I said 4% and I said 6 feet. So maybe it's 6'2". That's like the Amy Winehouse song. You like ballers. You only like ballers 6'2" or taller. That's her song, Frank. It's one of the best songs. She was like 18 when she wrote that song. Amazing song. Cecilia, you're breaking my heart. You're shaking my confidence daily. She's upstairs in my bedroom doing something. Oh, Cecilia, you're breaking my heart. Yeah, not legal advice. I think I might send my shares to you, even though it locks up for 6 months. I'm not quite ready to commit to that until I talk to you, but I do believe that you know what's going on with Alpine much better than I do. And I also believe that a great gift to this battle is an attorney as skilled as you and willing to do a lot of work without being sure how you're going to get paid. Other attorneys are always worried about how I get paid. Oh, Cecilia, you're breaking my heart. You're shaking my confidence daily. Oh, Cecilia. I agree, Wickedums. I think in his defense, he delayed gratification, and maybe he's just trying to take some gratification before he conks out. The other thing is, I think, like a lot of people do, when things work out, he had $1 billion market cap. He thinks it was something he did. I don't know. It's hard. Trading is hard. And it's easy for me to say, looking back on my own trades where I made mistakes, because it's hard. It's hard to sell, and when it's going up, it's hard to sell when it's breaking down. It's a bloody nightmare. So, anyway. Karahito wants to get a hold of you, not legal advice. I'm long, I'm strong, I'm wrong. I know, Ted. I was 6'2" at my tallest. I would play that song, but it'll take away. It would take away my $15 I might make on this call. Oh no, the song was F-U-C-K me pumps. When you walk in the bar, you're dressed like a star, rocking your F me pumps. And the men notice you with your Gucci bag crew. Can't tell who he's looking to. 'Cause you all look the same. Everyone knows your name. And that's your whole claim to fame. Never miss a night, 'cause your dream in life is to be a footballer's wife. You don't like players, that's what you say, but you really wouldn't mind a millionaire. You don't like ballers, they don't do nothing for you, but you'd love a rich man, 6'2" or taller. You're more than a fan, looking for a man, but you end up with one night stands. He could be your whole life if you got past one night, but that part never goes right. In the morning, you're vexed, he's on to the next, and you didn't even get no text. Don't be too upset if they call you a sket, 'cause like the news, every day you get pressed. You don't like players, that's what you say, but you really wouldn't mind a millionaire. All them big ballers don't do nothing for you, but you'd love a rich man, 6'2" or taller. You can't sit down right, 'cause your jeans are too tight, and you're lucky it's ladies' night. With your big empty purse, every week it gets worse. At least your breasts cost more than hers. So you did Miami, 'cause you got there for free, but somehow you missed the plane. You did too much, a drug, met somebody, and spent the night getting caned. Without girls like you, there'd be no fun. We'd go to the club and not see anyone. Without girls like you, there'd be no nightlife. All those men just go home to their wives. Don't be mad at me because you're pushing 30 and your old tricks no longer work. You should have known from the jump that you'd always get dumped. So dust off your F me pumps. Amy Winehouse. She's all of mid-teens when she wrote that. There's so much wisdom in that song, I can't even tell you. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything in my E-Trade either. It's so frustrating. And when the finger dividend comes out, do you expect additional gains? Yeah, they're going to continue the game. I don't have my pad here, but if you understand, you've got a short seller. He sells 1 million shares naked through a prime broker, and then all his buddies join in. But when he needs to cover this trade, he needs to sell it, cross it with somebody else. So he buys 1 million shares to close out this trade from the second LLC who short sells it at a lower price. This guy's naked, but this guy's covered. They can take most of that profit out. But then this second account has to go get a third account to help him out. And it just goes on and on and on. And they'll move it around and back around. And yes, they'll keep playing those games over and over and over again until the price catches them unaware, or is it unawares? And that's the thing that they're afraid of. That's why they're on these calls. That's why they try to trigger me, which they're successful at doing sometimes. That's why they get a job as a derivatives trader at the senior level at the company, even when it's a piece of shit company. They're there to prevent the surprise. That's what they're there for, to prevent the surprise. But Tom, I would think that the finger dividend's not going to do much to scare the shorts. What I think is going to do it, Tom, and I've gone through it so many times, but I'll try to hit the numbers quickly. Finger sells minutes at a discount in the world's biggest phone market, and they have a guaranteed profit doing that. They're one of just a handful that are licensed. Yes, there's ones that do it without a license because they were grandfathered, but that's a source of income. They do the business, rich content messaging. They do text messaging, but I don't think that's big right now. Rich context messaging. They are going to be big beneficiaries by the government's mandate that every buyer of a 5G phone in China, 1.5 billion phones, and everyone has to buy a 5G phone, has to get a warranty. Finger Motion will get 25% of the revenue, annual revenue, for free for doing nothing. They've hired the best warranty insurance company. The only reason that hasn't come to fruition yet, other than COVID and the economy being shut down, is that province by province, the insurance company needs to build out kiosks and mobile trucks that can go fix your phone. But that's an enormous source of revenue that's coming for finger motion. And that's probably coming in their second quarter, our third quarter. They are a gatekeeper for buying things on the internet, shopping malls. They get a little bit of that. They own the Netflix of Southeast Asia. They're going to, and that's 100 million plus users. With the RCM and the 5G, that's going to grow. They're going to bring it into China. They have 450 million users for their app to charge your EVs. And China has built out a system of state-of-the-art infrastructure with power generation, smooth roads, concentrated populations, electric vehicle cars, and this is going to be a source of income starting now and forever. They have their data, Sapientus. What the first place data is going to be used is with two insurance companies, Pacific Life Re and Munich Re. Those two insurance companies are in the second stage of monetization, which included building a laboratory, having scientists go through the data, developing the algorithms and the data to do all manner of insurance in the world's largest economy and arguably one of its most virgin, the world's most virgin insurance markets. And that's coming. And that probably will be monetized finger motion second quarter, our third quarter. They have another one I forgot all about. I can't remember. My brain's gone dead. But those are massive. And then there's discussions of Alibaba. I don't know if that's real. But remember, big data, you're talking China, Communist Party. I mean, the analog to our country right now is debatable, and I don't want to get into that debate. But as big data gets collected, who are natural buyers of that big data? Police departments, militia department, maybe, I don't know. Marketers, I mean, it's big. So what's going to change finger is an unexpected, out of the blue contract that instantaneously changes the present value of the net asset value of the shares, because when you present value the revenue and the profit and you back calculate it on a per share basis, it explodes the shorts out of the water. That's why they that's why Aubrey Advisors destroyed the price of CAUD. So every time the CEO, who I think is terrific, has to raise money, anything good doesn't change the per share price risk. So the only thing I think is going to make finger just explode to the upside is an out of the blue, unexpected change in the NAV. And that's coming. I just gave you 5 or 6. I know I forgot one. But it's all coming. But we have to talk about it every day because we're in it. You know, that's life. But that's the price we pay because we're not Rockefeller. Rockefeller can wait until fingers $10 and buy it so it goes to 20 if he thinks that's going to happen. We have to get in early, and then we've got to fight the criminality that Adina Friedman allows without any curiosity because, wow, I'm a woman. I've gone so far. I'm so talented. I'm the CEO of NASDAQ. Look what I'm doing, Ma. I'm the vanguard of women. No, Adina, you're a human being. You're a human being that happens to be a woman. Get to work at your job. Enforce the regulations or put somebody in there that is willing to do it. Don't support Carlyle. That's in your past. Your future is to look out for investors and CEOs, or your market's going to disappear. But goo goo gaga, you're a woman. Wow. You've done so well. What have you done so well, Adina? What have you done so well other than be a woman? Show me that as a person, you can do something well. You can honor your oath. Show me that you're smart, you see the regulations, and you have the curiosity to find out why today there was spoofing and finger motion, a company that just was on TV with NASDAQ celebrating. Why finger motion has 500,000 shares spoofed across today? You have no curiosity. So until you show that you can behave professionally and do your job, my opinion is you're in that desk because you're a woman and you got promoted higher than your skills, and you're there to protect Carlyle Group. I think you're corrupt and you are incompetent, Adina Friedman. It's all in my opinion. Prove me wrong. Show me that you deserve to be there regardless of your sex and regardless of your ties to Carlyle Group. Prove me wrong. But until then, I think you're a disaster to run NASDAQ. It used to be the premier over-the-counter firm. It used to be something special. And now under your shambolic, somnolent, corrupt, captured leadership, it's a joke. It's a complete joke. Adina Friedman, you personally might be a joke. Do something. Act. Yeah, she'll never hear it. So anyway, I think Finger can run when there's a big announcement or it gets into positive earnings and it's visible that those earnings are going to grow quarter in and quarter out. Benchmark, which I think joins in the criminal behavior, they have two analysts, Fong Yang and Long Lin. A year ago, they wrote that they have a buy rating with a price target of $5. But in the summary of Finger Motion, under valuation, they wrote, our price target of $5 represents a 1x for our fiscal year 2025, which we're in right now, revenue estimate of 126 million. The multiple is in line with our China Internet Group comp. We acknowledge that the company deserves a higher multiple considering its hypergrowth profile. Considering its hypergrowth profile. We acknowledge that Finger Motion deserves a higher multiple than 1x. Oh, sorry, that's my eyesight. 1.6x. We acknowledge that the company deserves a higher multiple considering its hypergrowth profile against its peer group. But we have decided to take a discount on its price to earnings growth ratio to account for the higher risk profile, especially the execution risks in association with an early stage company, such as doing business with that charlatan, Jeff Easton, in order to deliver their growth and profit targets. And then here's the thing. As the company proves its track record on execution and shows a healthy revenue mix from higher quality segments, which is their big data. And I forget what VAS is, voice over something. Let me look up what VAS is. You guys know all these symbols. I don't. VAS, value added service and big data. So the two areas that they're looking for as the company proves its track record on execution and shows a healthy revenue mix from higher quality segments, value added service, and big data, we are expecting a meaningful re-rating opportunity. We are expecting a meaningful re-rating opportunity. In particular, as we mentioned earlier, Finger is expected to break even in fiscal quarter 4 for 2024. That was the first quarter of this year, and turn profitable in fiscal year 2025. We view these events as potential catalysts for the stock. We are expecting a meaningful re-rating opportunity, obviously upward. So the stock's trading at $3. A year ago, their target is $5. We're about to see the benefit of earnings. That's, Tom, is what's going to catch out the shorts. When they see that this company can earn revenues and cash flow and positive earnings quarter in, quarter out, and you have analysts start lifting their targets to $10, $15, that's when the shorts are going to have to cover. Okay, so not legal advice on GTII. I think the lockup will be less than 6 months. I'm not expecting to get paid for my work. But we'll dance. You can dance if you want to. Yeah, I'll do it. Not legal advice. I'll do it. My guess is it's not going to be 6 months either, because if we all fight, I think Reichman goes and then the lawsuit dissipates. Sinatra the Tweed. Oh, good. You put it here. Making love in the afternoon with Cecilia up in my bedroom. That's it. I got up to wash my face. When I come back, another had taken my place. Oh, Cecilia. Finger Motion's cloud services are going to be Hugh. Who's Hugh? Who is Hugh? Well, Little Green Candle, I appreciate that sentiment. I feel that same way. On the other hand, I just want you to know, one of the reasons we're here is to make money. We don't need to make money in the same stock, But I agree with you. I'm not against what you're saying at all. Hey, AP. Good to see you. I know, Galadon. I think Finger might be where the action is. But, by the time we know for sure, the price will be higher. That's the dilemma. I did look at Barnes and Noble, but not for very long. I didn't know they founded GameStop. I didn't know that. So there may be a short position that moves in sympathy. I wrote it down. Let's look into it. 89% is a big number. Junk Savvy, a face for movies and posters in dorm rooms and television and mother's mantles, and a voice for radio and record players and bedtime stories. So glad to see you, Junk Savvy. Guys, everybody here, she does a great job every single day, every morning on Space Calls. And the people on there, they're so smart. It's unbelievable. I think Knott's jokes can cause senility, and that might be what he's trying to do. All right, Heath, let's look at that. You're being negative, I guess, which is all right. Oh wow, it's down 0.0084. All right, so Heath, I printed it out, the news story, logic. Here's the two negatives. There's three negatives. Number one, the biotech field. This is where the shorts have a field day, absolute field day. Because when a biotech company has success, they need to raise money. So then they go to the liars at Aubrey Advisors, in my judgment, or the liars at Lend Partners, in my judgment, or the liars at Power Up Lending, in my judgment, or the liars at Yorkville, in my judgment, or the liars at Polar, in my judgment, the liars at Chadron Financial, in my judgment. And they raise money, and it destroys the per share value. So that's one risk. The other thing that's disappointing in this announcement is it's 100 million when you read the first paragraph. But when you go into it, it says that this is the first of 3 biotech companies that are going to come in with a valuation of over 750 million. So I know, Keith, it's good to be negative. I get it. But if you take 750 million and you multiply it by 0.15, I got to start over. It's 112 million to Logic. You divide that, we'll divide it by 250 million shares. I don't know the exact number. That's all that could be out. That's 45 cents a share, Heath. So it says here, the acquisition represents the first in a series targeting a cumulative value exceeding 750 million. There, right there. Right here. And it also said somewhere, I'm trying to find it, that it's going to get done. Oh, here. This transaction is slated for completion by July 31. And then it says, just to repeat it, this acquisition is the first of 3 biotech-focused companies with subsequent acquisitions already in the LOI stage. So what the shorts want to do, Heath, and remember, they're just selling stock that doesn't exist. They're using LLCs, which are just pieces of paper. They're using prime brokers and market makers who don't give a shite. And they have people like Adina Freeman looking the other way. And Garrett Goober, Gary Gensler, and Robert Cook. So what they're trying to do, Heath, is get you to sell your stock. This is great news. But they want you to sell your stock. Now, the other thing they can do, I wish I had my blackboard here, my whiteboard, but LLC number 1 this morning can short 100,000 shares at 2.5 cents naked, and then close this transaction when LLC number 2 comes in and naked shorts 100,000 shares at 1.5 pennies. So the first guy books a penny profit. That's a nice day trade. The second guy who's working in collusion, and Adina Friedman couldn't care less. The second guy's working with the first guy. They're now naked. Well, all the second guy has to do is work out with the third LLC. Let's cover it for a small loss. And then all three of these meet at Harry's bar and they split the profit. It's collusion, it's illegal, and Adina Friedman allows it. And Goober Gary Gensler allows it. Your broker dealer allows it. But Heath, the other risk that before I move on, the other risk that we really have to acknowledge is the market can doubt the valuation until more information comes out. But more importantly, it says here, right in the body of it, they're going to do a significant capital infusion. Well, if they go to Lynn Partners, if they go to Aubrey Advisors, if they go to Shadron Advisors, the stock will be destroyed. So hopefully the scars that management has learned from doing business with Aubrey Advisors, from doing business with Ionic, from doing business with the Neo Exchange, 3 different groups, from doing business with whomever they worked with under Whalen. Hopefully management knows you cannot sign a toxic convertible note. You cannot sign an agreement that has backward-looking formulae, poisonous formulae. You cannot sign agreement that promises big money raises, but only gives it to you in tranches. And you cannot trust the liars sitting at your conference table, represented by the best lawyers on Wall Street, telling you you have to cover your ass. Look what happened to MMAT. Look what happened to MULN. Look what happened to VNUE. Look what happened to HPIL. Look what happened to GTLL. Look what happened to CRTD VO/VOCL. The whole thing is rigged. If you're a CEO, you have to be someone like the woman, Linda Perry, who runs DBMMMM. But even she took a note from the Kramers. I'm sure it's because one of her lawyers said, oh, this covers your ass. If you go against the grain, you can be sued. What we need is a CEO with the courage to lead. We need a CEO that says, I'm not taking this anymore. I'm not going to take money from corrupt Wall Street. I'm on the side of my investors. And if it means I'm on the OTC market till kingdom come, so be it. I'm not going to do the deal with that smiling, lying face, Adina Friedman, in my judgment. Of course, everything on this is in my judgment. She's just there to entice. She's like that fly trap, big smile, come into the NASDAQ and bam, we've got you. Kurt Kramer's got you. Jeff Easton's got you. Ari Rubenstein's got you. It's all a trap. Adina Friedman is a trap. And so the CEO, his name is, I'm going to write him an email, Daniel Vinekur, on the, well, he's COO. You can't do a deal with these people. Can't do a deal with these people. And if you're going to do a significant capital raise, Heath, what they're trying to do, the shorts are trying to do, is make sure the significant capital raise is done at a penny a share. Well, this new guy has to say, you know what? You can drive this stock down to a penny. We're not going to do a raise there. I'm going to get on a plane. I'm going to go to meeting after a meeting, and we're going to do the raise at 10 cents a share or 45 cents a share. And we don't care where our market price is because we're going to do it differently. We know that the market price is a fraud. Adina Friedman's markets are fraudulent. Adina Friedman herself is incompetent. She's lazy or she's corrupt. Her markets do not give an accurate assessment of the value of the underlying company. And that's a fact, Jack. It's just a fact. She collects $2.5 million because, hey, men have always had this job. I'm a woman. Look how great I am. I'll do an interview and I'll smile and I'll help young women, or whatever the hell she tells herself about how good she is. But at the core, she's a human being that's not doing her job, and she's not honoring her oath of office. I think it's because she's incompetent and stupid, and she's just in there to protect Carlyle Group, where she comes from. But at Carlyle Group, she never was a CEO. She never had to raise money. She never had to speak to shareholders in a small micro cap trying to make it from one milestone to the next milestone. She's a complete fraud. All of it's in my judgment. But anyway, Heath, they're trying all their tricks, but I'll submit to you, their tricks aren't going to work this time, because Logic isn't the company raising the money. Logic is 15% of the newco. Now, you could say, well, Logic is the shell, and that's for sure. That's true. But it's not we that are raising the money. It's this company called MedLab Essentials, plus two more companies that are going to be worth $750 million. So as long as that brain trust refuses to do business in Adina Friedman's corrupt markets to raise capital, and they raise capital privately, which I think they can do, and I'll help them do it, and they do it at prices higher than this fraud, they're not going to win. And I don't think they're going to win here. Again, Heath, let me just tell you, if you take a 750 million, $750 million, you divide it, or you multiply it by 15%, and you divide that by 250 million shares outstanding, it's 45 cents a share. Now, if they think they can convince the CEOs and management that their company's only worth a penny a share, when the valuations that they know, because they do their business, is 45 cents a share, I think they have another thing coming. Adina Friedman doesn't know, because she's completely incompetent. She's a silly little girl who got promoted all of her life because of her smile. Well, Adina, it's time to do your job. And I'm sorry to be hard on you, but the job of being CEO of NASDAQ doesn't have anything to do with sex. It has to do with competence. Be competent or move out of the way. The Kramers, according to SEC filing, destroyed it didn't finish the thought, but it's clear from the filing, 345 companies, including a majority of those on NASDAQ, under your term. Where are you, Adina? $2.5 million a year. Pretty smile, not so pretty, almost pretty smile. You're there because you're a woman, not because of your talent or your integrity or your leadership. Prove me wrong. And if you're mad at me, go look in the mirror. Prove yourself wrong. It's time that someone called you out. You've been promoted all your life because you're a woman, not because you do the hard thing, not because you make the hard decisions. not because you take the risk of enforcing rules, which might ostracize you from the feel good, get along, everyone's kumbaya feeling that you seek. All right, everything's frozen on my screen. So maybe it's all frozen. Okay. Let me see how Djokovic is doing. Oh, good. He kicked butt. All right, now is it working? I like, hey, flying bus driver. Hello. I can't make my computer work, so I'm just looking at what's there. I didn't know about Northwest Bio's lawsuit. That's awesome. It's going to break. It's all going to break with the hardest working people like Junk Savvy and Busy Brands and all of them. It's going to spiny. You be tall, I'll be long. Yeah, all right. I'll believe that. All right, Pete. I sent you an email, PS71. Maybe I didn't get it right. Let me look at it. All right, my computer is totally freezing, so I'm going to end this stream. Let me see how hot it is. Yeah, it's hot. So I thank everybody for being here. Tune in to Junk Savvy tomorrow morning. Tune in to Busy Brands, particularly when he interviews one of the presidential candidates, maybe. And I'll follow up on all of this. We'll talk tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon. I think the news is great on Logic. I'll try to get Brent on when he can speak. The key issue, Heath, is will they take a toxic convertible note? And if I have anything to do with it, they're going to run away from it. So anyway, peace, love, and happiness to everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Over and out.